Now it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. John Baumrucker from the York class of 1962. He is a graduate of Northwestern University and the University of Cincinnati Medical School. What students tomorrow will be focused on, he will be meeting with our World Studies classes to talk about his life of service. He is a member of both the JCs and the Rotary. In fact, as a fellow Rotarian, I was interested to know that he earned their highest service award called the Service Above Self. He and his wife, Joanna, have committed their lives to the children and adults, the communities in Bolivia, where he worked to raise money and to build and support prisons and schools and homes. It's my pleasure to welcome York graduate, Mr. John Baumrucker.
Well, it's an honor and a privilege to be here, and this is just such an amazing night, and I've listened to some fantastic presenters, and it's just nice to have so many wonderful people from this great high school. I graduated in 1962 and went on to Northwestern and graduated in 4 years at 1966. I remember in 1964 we lost to Illinois and they went to the Rose Bowl and we went home. We were actually ranked number 1 in football in 1962. That hasn't happened again. And then Notre Dame stole error procedure. I've never forgiven them. I'm sure there's a few Notre Dame grads out there. After that, I went to the University of Cincinnati Medical School and graduated in 1970. So how did that get in there? In 1971, I started a medical practice in Highlands, North Carolina, and that's the town. It's beautiful. It's a summer resort. And we have 2,500 people in the winter and about 50,000 people in the summer. The nice thing about that is that, well, we've got a lot of rich people there, and we have this wonderful state-of-the-art hospital, only 27 beds, with nuclear medicine, MRI, everything that you could want, all in a tiny little hospital because people are willing to donate money. The other thing that, because of the seasonal nature of my practice, I was able, when more doctors came, I was one of 2 doctors for 15 years, and so I was on call every other night, and all the babies I delivered came on the night I wasn't on call. So I learned to live without sleep for a long time. But finally, we had 5 doctors on the staff, and because there wasn't much to do in the winter, I was called to go to Bolivia, something I'm sure I'll have more time tomorrow to talk about. And we started the Highlands Bolivian mission in 1998. I spent a month there then, and I've spent between 1 and 3 months there now. It began as a medical mission, and if any of you have eyeballs, you can tell what's wrong with that lady. It's the biggest goiter I've ever seen. But we quickly, that's one of my favorite slides. This is out in the community of Guarani Indians. The Guarani Indians were a lot like our Indians. They didn't have any idea of ownership of land, so they got pushed around when the Europeans came into Argentina and Paraguay, where they were living. And Bolivia was nice enough to give 2 groups of the Guarani Indians 600 hectares of land, and they're still there. But we branched out into other things as groups came down with us. We've served meals at a church there, and over 2 years we served over 55,000 meals, and quickly decided that we weren't there all the time, so now we support clinics that feed and educate children, and I don't have to do it anymore. We built houses. This is an article from a newspaper. The first year we were there, we built 3 houses, and we've built 12 houses for people, and many of those were in that Guarani Indian community. We noticed that little girls went to orphanages, but boys were just left out on the street because they could fend for themselves. So it came to me to start a foster home. We had a meeting in 2001, and I think in the program it says that I donated $20,000 to buy the land. Actually, the land was donated by the mayor when he heard the project, and we had $20,000 to get the home started. We opened 2 years later in 2003, but this is us starting to build the first walls of this, and here it is all finished. We now have 18 boys. Some have left since the bio was written. We have 2 dormitories. We have a farm area where they learn how to plant and grow food. A commercial woodworking shop, but in the corner of it, the boys get to do some projects. We give computer, art, and music lessons. And here are all the boys with a couple of members of our board of directors down there. And here are the boys, one boy, making pens on a lathe. It took me about 3 years. We make these pens, and we sell them for $25, and we've managed to accumulate $20,000 just from the pen sales. All that money will go to their college education. But it took me about 3 years to realize that the pens were metaphors for the boys. I'd tell them to go into the junk pile and pick up pieces of wood, which, just the ends that they couldn't use, and they make something beautiful out of it. We've taken these boys that were thrown away, abandoned, and we're making something beautiful out of them. This is the music lessons. We have donated over $1 million of medical supplies to the different hospitals there, mainly the teaching hospital there. When I first went there, the teaching hospital didn't even have an EKG machine, didn't have a defibrillator, didn't have monitors, and they didn't have a ventilator. Now we've brought different kinds of medical equipment to 6 different hospitals and 3 clinics. We have a prison ministry. The prison there should hold at most 75 people. There's 250 people in there now. The medicine cabinet there was to hold medicines. We provide 100% of all the medicine, and we support the doctor that goes once a week and donates his time. This is one of our last volunteers starting to dig part of a septic tank for the, you can see the footers there for a sanitary facility. There just isn't good sanitation, and of course we can't build a septic tank for everybody, but we can show them how it should be made, and then they do follow and create good sanitary facilities. And we have water projects as well. We have youth groups that come. The University of Ole Miss, Mississippi has had 3 groups, and I just got 9 emails. They're starting it up again just today from Ole Miss students that want to go. This is a group, the girl in the green hat there is from Johns Hopkins Medical School, and we do screening clinics for diabetes and hypertension. And Johns Hopkins has come down with groups for 5 years now. We've also donated wheelchairs through Rotary International. We brought 550 down just this last year, and I've been involved with 2 groups that had 240. So that comes to 1,030 over 5 years. We also support women's clinics that promote business enterprises. We do microfinance, and in these women's groups they teach healthy cooking lessons. So everything to help and improve the health and welfare of the people there. We're always looking for new volunteers. I always look at God brings us to the right place at the right time. So if anybody's really interested in going, I have a web page. It's called HighlandsBolivianMission.com. You can go there and find out about this, and anybody can come. There's always something that you can do. And this is one of my favorite pictures I took the first time, and I call this the Peaceful Kingdom. Most people don't see the cat in the box there at first, and the bird sort of the jailer. I've never been a place where birds and cats actually play together and live in harmony, and I've been blessed that the people are just as wonderful. Now, what did York do to get me to Bolivia? Let me tell you a little story. When I went to Bolivia, I didn't speak Spanish. And when I was there, I started dreaming about York. And I really couldn't figure that out, but I wasn't dreaming about all the chemistry and math and science classes, because I aced those things. It's the other things I didn't do so well, but I started thinking about Miss Fafley and the Latin class that she taught, and Miss Larson, also a Latin teacher, because Spanish is similar to Latin, and then I realized that what York taught me was how to learn, and I continue to learn all the time, and I hope you will too, because when you quit learning, you might as well just go on. But that's what York gave me, and I'm happy to be here and present this to you all. Thank you very much.